Hello YouTube. I know I'm still wearing the same clothes, and I've got a beer here that's way too effing foamy, but I'm not crazy. What is that? What is that I hear? Oh, the system seems to have cleaned itself and we're powering it back up again because we're doing another brew! I just finished filming our last video, which was the French Saison, and now this is a wild card. Nikki and I were we just got into a Shakespeare show, believe it or not, at the Mount Vernon Community Theater. So if you're going to be in Mount Vernon, Iowa, at the end of July, come check out the show. It's going to be good. Anyway, I decided, well, let's see. I'm feeling inspired. I've got half my day left because we started the other videos so early. You know, we were drinking coffee in the beginning of that one. This looks like coffee, but I like it a little better. But anyway, we are going to be doing Tudor Ale from Summit Brewing. I got thinking, I was like, hey, that could be cool, part of a cast party. If we're doing Shakespeare, what if we had a beer that may have been, like something that could have actually been drunk during Shakespeare's time. So, with that, this is going to be probably the strangest beer I've ever done, and on the new setup, this is not one of the ones folks, voted for, but I figured we'd make an exception since I have pretty much a month to get this ready. So, Tudor Ale. 7.25 pounds. I went with Great Western Organic 2-row. 1.2 pounds Munton's Crystal 60. Half an ounce of Brice Black Malt. And a dash of smoked malt, which I took to be 2 ounces. I have no idea if we'll even notice that, but the concept with that was, is that, if they're cooking it over an open fire back then, it may have picked up a little hint of smoke. I have no idea. Probably not, but who knows, it might have. Here's where it gets freaky. So, we are going to have our rest, the saccharification rest, 154 degrees for 45 minutes. Mash out, 172 for 5 minutes. 60-minute boil, half an ounce of Kent Goldings for 55 minutes. That's it. And then 2.5 ounces of honey at 50 minutes. And then, which I'd guess, you're going to be boiling it off, so it doesn't really matter when we add it, so as long as we just boil it. And then 0.1 ounce of fresh sage, chopped in the last 5 minutes. This is crazy. Now, I looked this up. Back in Shakespeare's time, there were ales and there were beers. Beers were going to be like your continental Europe thing, something with hops in it. Ales were actually typically unhopped, so they would mash their grains, ferment them out, maybe some spice in there, but that was pretty much it. So word had it that either you were an ale person or you were a beer person. And there was all kinds of stuff like alewives, and there were regulations on who could be an ale house and an ale producer and all this. I never realized this was so deep that there was all this crazy stuff going on back then. So we're going to try a very, very minimally hopped ale fashioned after what may have been drunk during Shakespeare's time. So without further ado, you see what I did there? Yeah. We are going to do the Tudor Ale from Summit Brewing. On the new system. Already got it heating up, 8 gallons of water. I got the grains crushed. This is cleaned out, ready to roll. And yeah, I'm a little schwitzy. I'm drying off though. It's so hot outside, and this is exactly why I decided to go with an electric indoor setup. We're already almost up at mash temperature. It's a cool 70 degrees in here. I literally just walked through my garage to dump this out in the backyard in like this kind of compost pile heap thing I'm starting. And by the time I got back and I rinsed it out with the garden hose, dripping sweat. I'm looking a lot better now, I'm feeling a lot better. And this is certainly helping, but whew, yeah, it's too hot outside to brew, so brew inside with electric. Alright, cool. Well, let's get to this. And away we go. It is filling as we speak. Okay, so here it is, the Tudor Ale. And we're going. Tudor style ale, I should say. An ale brewed during Tudor times nowadays would probably not be very tasty. We're going to go ahead and start our little mini Vorloff here. Just to get that first round of crap out of there. Look at all that grain that just poured out. And we'll get rid of that. I found just doing this a couple times really seems to just pull all those little bits out. There's barely anything in there now. I don't know if it would, recirculate and collect all its own stuff. I'm guessing, that's part of the point, but what about like the floaty bits? You get a little bit of the smoke in there. Just even that first run, it's already looking better. Yeah, I just do this a couple times, I think. I don't know. It was my first intuition when I first fired it up. Seems to be working just fine. Okay, now this is where we get this put in place. Turn on that. Out on that. Open. Open. Away it goes. Huh. There we go. Things are dialed in here. You can see 156 and it's not on. We're shooting for 154. I went ahead and in the last video I altered that setting so the readout is now reading 2 degrees, or I guess hotter than the signal it's receiving, which seems to be the actual true number. So calibrated that in. Now everything's going just fine. Pump is running. And yeah, we're going to zoom out here a little bit, and I'm going to talk about the system a little bit because I've had quite a few questions about why I only have 2 vessels. So let's actually check out the layout, and we'll talk about that for just a second. Had to refill, and I'm still having real foamy pours. I don't know, I think it's because I haven't tapped this one in a while, and the faucet head's kind of warmed up. Yeah, all foam. Anyway, so now that we're in our mash on our Tudor Ale here, I thought it could be a good time to answer a question I've gotten a lot, especially on that first video. And I replied to everyone, but it could be beneficial to kind of talk it through. So my system is what's known as a 2-vessel rims. There's no rims tube. There is no hot liquor coil tank, a 3rd tank. Obviously, this is it. This is everything. The two vessels work as such. The boil kettle is also the hot liquor tank. There's an electric heating element inside of there that is controlled by the controller. Now the controller has two sensors it looks at, and I switch it to whatever sensor I want it to. Right now it's reading up here in the mash input, because it's monitoring obviously the incoming hot liquor temperature to make sure we don't go above or where we're supposed to be. So it's sitting right at 154. Both are 154, so we're good. The other port is down here on the boil kettle. So when I go to boil it, the wort, we move that probe over and we dial it in. So the way that a two vessel works versus a three vessel, with a two vessel, I've got my hot liquor / boil kettle, goes down into a pump, pumps up into my mash tun, and then gravity takes it from my mash tun right back into the hot liquor tank / boil kettle. And the way this works is I put all the water I need for the entire batch in the boil kettle right at the beginning. Then what we do is we pump a little bit up, we dough in, we get everything flowing. I adjust that float arm so that way it keeps, you know, 1 to 2 inches of hot water, you know, right on the top of the grain. And basically it sits here and recirculates itself over and over and over again, doing two things. One, obviously it's mashing. We're getting the starches converted into sugars with the enzymes in the grain. But two, it's sparging itself. So this is a no sparge system. When I'm done with the mash part, I kill the pump and I let everything just drain right in, and we switch the probe and dial it up to boil. So that's kind of the basics of my system, a two vessel rims. Three vessel systems are a little bit different. You've seen them like vertically, or not vertically, well there are some that are vertical actually, all gravity fed, and then you've seen some that are horizontal. They're similar in type setup where a lot of them do use recirculation, but they've got a dedicated hot liquor tank that they'll either pump, you know, they'll work through a coil, or they will you know, recirculate in and of itself using like a rims tube or something like that, which would be, you know, another type of a rim setup where if I had all this and instead of a heating element in here, we had a tube that the wort was flowing over and heating that directly. There's different ways to do it, but this is what a two vessel rims looks like. Recirculation, infusion, mash system, no sparge, and supposedly really efficient if you get it dialed in. I've only done a couple batches now on it, so I'm sitting right at about 70. I'd like to get a little bit better than that, of course, but that's not terrible. That's not terrible for a home brewer and for a system that you're just learning. So yeah, so there we go. We're sitting at 154. You can see we're still there. No heat. The pump is on. Now I go drink beer for 45 minutes. You know, this is why I like this. No, I rake the top of the grain every, 15 minutes or so, just to make sure it's not channeling. And then obviously you want to check to make sure nothing's plugging up. But yeah, honestly, it's a pretty smart system. You don't have to have that third vessel. You don't have to have a built-in coil, which can get expensive. And yeah, it works great. So that's how mine works. Let me know if you've got a similar setup in the comments down below. The two vessel rims seems to be a relatively new concept to home brewers, but there are bigger breweries that operate on a system kind of similar to this one. Obviously theirs is dialed in to be perfect, but I think for what we got here, we're doing pretty good, right? So, cool. So you can see those beautiful grains recirculating. We did our little iodine test. Everything came out great. So now what we're going to do is we are going to bring the system up to a mash out. The recipe called for a 172 degree mash out. So to do that, we simply come over here to our controller. The green is what we want. Heat is being applied now. You see that, how quick that did it? Oh, I'm messing with it, so now it doesn't know quite what to do. So that's where the sensor is currently reading, at the top of the mash tun. That's where it's going to go to. And basically once that hits 172, I'm going to give it a 5-minute countdown. Hear it powering up. I'm not sure if you can hear that there. A little sizzle. Whoop. I keep doing that, man. That's something I gotta get better at. So, yep. Okay, so we just hit the end of our mash out. So now what do I do? 2 vessel rims. What do I do at this point? Very, very easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill the pump. I'm going to slow the flow down just a little bit. That supposedly helps you with your gravity. So we're going to try that this time. We're going to dial it down there. So it's just going to basically feed now back down into here. So you're really slowly rising there. I'm going to step up on my little stool. Yeah. So we just let it drain down. Just let it go. Nice and easy. That's it. Oh, and now what we're going to do, we're actually going to take this probe, pop it off. I'm going to kind of feed it under my other hoses here because I don't like to. And then basically plug it into our boil kettle. So now it's trying to mess with it. See, I pissed it off. It's sending out the error messages now. So it's going to take a second to get dialed in. Boop, there it goes. It knows it's at 173 now. So, or that liquid is at 173. Remember, the mash was at a different, because it loses a couple degrees. So yeah, so now we'll just wait for this to drain down into there. It'll take just a few minutes, but we could, in theory, actually start bringing it back up, or bringing it up to a boil. But I just wanted to kind of show you that. Nice and easy. Just easy to move the probe around, or the sensor cable, I should say. The probes don't move, they're bolted in place. But it's easy to move the sensor. So yeah, I'll bring that up. Might as well send some juice over. Eh? Gravy. That's how fast it works. You can hear it again. This thing's awesome. 5 gallons, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and we'll dial this up. Right now it's still in automatic mode, so I'm just going to let it handle itself. Once we get closer to the actual boil, I'll switch it over to manual mode and dial it down to about 60%. I just set it up to 212 just to set it there. I guess I don't have to. Watch this. So we're dialing back down to the mash out temp, so 170. So this is how easy it is to do this. And I know you can't see it, you're not right up on it, but it's literally 2 buttons. Watch this. So we'll switch over our screen so I can see auto. Look at that. Manual mode. Done. It's at 0, so that's 0%. Take it up. We'll get it going at about 70. %. It's going to take it a minute to calculate, and away we go. Red light, we are hot. Off. It's going to be operating full on 70% of the time. That's how it works. Cool! So here we go. Our only hop edition. 0.5 ounces of East Kent Goldings. In the bag. This feels so weird. But that's it. There we go. T-minus 5 minutes until we add 2.5 ounces of honey. I'm guessing it's going to destroy most of the flavor of the honey, and it's mostly just for sugar, but it's what the recipe called for, so I'm sticking to it. Okay, so here we are. Now I've got 2.5 ounces of honey in there. You can see, nice and goopy. This is actually honey that's made by one of our customers, and it's so tasty. So I'm not quite sure how to add this, so I'm just going to kind of drizzle it in. Trying not to get it over the element. And then I'm going to rinse the mug in the hot wort. See. It's still coming in. This must just be for some extra fermentable, because if you boil honey this long, I mean, it's not going to, you're not going to have honey flavor left over, you know? I'm trying to keep my hand out of the steam. It is. Whew. Hand close to that now. Oh, dogs have been activated. There we go. Looking good. So now it's 45 minutes until we add the sage. Okay, here we go. We are at that addition where we add sage. Chopped sage. This has to be the weirdest thing I've ever done. In brewing, anyway. And we add this for 5 minutes. All off. Give it a dunk. Now I'll begin the timer for 5 minutes. That definitely changed the smell. Just a little herby. Just a little herby. So. Alrighty, T-5 until we start chilling. Okay, according to our gauge, we are at 68 degrees, so I'm going to kill the pump. We're going to bring it over to the sanitized fermenter and get it spraying. So, okay, here we go. Kill that dude. Grab this dude. Dial this down so it doesn't blast me. Goes. Now I've got it dialed way down, of course. You can see it just fanning out like that. Look at that. You can dial it down further if you wanted to. Little trickle. Take it up a notch until it's spraying everywhere. Don't want it to spray everywhere though, that's for sure. This has to be one of the more interesting smelling beers, not gonna lie. It's got a, I mean, the sage is definitely coming through almost like cooking, you know? Down just a
bit, see if we can knock off. Yeah, and there it goes, down to 67.
We want to ferment this at 68 degrees, so you can kind of dial your pump speed down or increase your water speed. I've got the water pretty much at max right now.
Yeah, now we're at 67 solid, so that's perfect.
That is perfect. Okay, so here we are. Time to take our refractometer reading. So, sanitized pipette, of course. We are at exactly 5 gallons, which is awesome. We've been trying to figure out a way to get to that 5-gallon mark on the new system. So, we may have figured it out.
Okay, so here it is. We take our sample, put it along that, like so. I always taste that last little bit. Drop that down. There's a bubble. Oh, see, the bubble just worked its way out. So now I'm going to look off screen here and figure out what our reading is.
We're at 1043. 1043. Which I'm not quite sure where this beer was supposed to be. But I know it was on the lower side, I think. Original gravity, 1.046. So just a couple points down. So not too bad. Not too bad. 1046 was the intended. 1043 is what we got. I'll take it. Okay, so now we're using Yeast 1028 London Ale. Let's piss them off, right? Oh, it's gonna blow up now. Holy crap. Alright, let's see. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Get every last little bit out of there I can. Perfect. Pop this on here. You know me, I like to be like that halfway mark there. There we go. Now, into the fermentation chamber. Okay, so it is in the fermentation chamber. I've got my firm wrap around the outside for the heat. I've got the fridge for the cold. We've got, well, the airlock's on, but I didn't fill it quite yet. Some good old Star San. There we go. Cool. And just that easy. Just that easy, YouTube, I tell you. So this brew day went pretty darn well, down 0.003, so not bad. The other brew, we were 0.002 under, so we're dialing it in. We're getting a little bit better. There are certainly things I could probably change on there, but you know, we'll get that figured out as we brew more. You know, I mean, what, this is the 3rd batch on it? Yeah, I think the 3rd batch, so. Yeah, it's good. Look good. Just a couple points under. We're at 5 gallons exact, so I'm going to have to look at that grain to water ratio and see if that will become my standard, because it was 5 gallons exact with all the loss in the system and the little bits left here and there and stuff. I tilted the kettle a little bit to get that last little bit out, so you know, maybe that ratio plus a little bit. Pardon me. So yeah, this is exciting. This is the first time I've ever done 2 all grain batches in a day, let alone, let's see. Yeah, that only took me 7 hours to do 2 all grain batches, start to finish, both of them. Now, of course, comes the cleanup, and I've been asked about the cleanup on my all grain setup here, and it's really not too intensive. I've told a couple folks that I might make a video on it, but in case you're watching and you just want to hear about it, so I'll take my mash tun, so the top pot. I'll take any fittings that are, will clunk around out, and then I take the whole pot out back and I just dump it in a compost pile, and then take it over to the garden hose and just spray out all the chunks. Then what I'll do is I'll come down and soak basically all the hoses a little bit in some water, rinse them out really well. I'll scrub down the mash tun, I'll scrub down the boil kettle, and then I'll take this hose and just kind of back flush the plate chiller. That's the trickiest thing to clean, is the plate chiller. And because I've done a couple batches on it now, I think I'm going to do like 5 gallons of recirculating, like boiling hot PBW or something like that, just to dissolve anything out of it that I can. Anything that might be in there. After I blast it out, typically there's very little left, but it couldn't hurt, right? Give it a good clean. And that's it. That's it. I just scrub everything down with a sponge and some PBW, and that's it. Because everything on that side is pretty much hot side. My biggest learning curve, I guess, is with the plate chiller, and that is more so, you don't want it to clog. You don't want something to mold in there or something funky. Now granted, we boil it to sanitize it, through recirculation each time, so if there is anything in there, it's probably not going to survive, but I would rather not have something funky in there, so. But yeah, so just got to clean up. So 7 hours for the brew, from literally start of cold water through 2 batches to finished. Clean up, that'll probably take me about half an hour. Not too long at all, so gives me plenty of time to mow my lawn. So, well, I should say mow my lawn in the sections that need it. We've got a lot of clover growing right now, and the flowers coming up, and it's covered in honeybees. And I don't care what anybody says, I'm not going to cut down the clover because there's so many honeybees out there on it, and we need our honeybees. So, yeah. I'm just going to let those parts stay. Anything else that's just grass, I'll just cut that down, of course. But yeah, so got some mowing to do. 2 batches done. Yeah, good day, good day. Nothing went wrong. Knock on fermenter and knock on head. Nothing really went bad. So yeah, not too shabby. I'm pretty pleased with it. We'll definitely be doing a taste test on this beer. Tudor Ale. So some Turo, some Caramel 60, and or a Crystal 60, and sage. Half an ounce of Kent Golding. That's it for the hop on it. And then 0.1 ounce of sage, fresh chopped sage. It smelled great. It smelled very good. Almost smelled like dinner was cooking or something, like it had a food kind of flavor to it, so, or aroma to it. So we'll see how much of that comes through after it's done fermenting. 1028, we're going to ferment it at 68 degrees according to the recipe, and yeah, let that go for 1 week, and then after that we will throw in half an ounce of dried sage to dry hop it, dry sage it. Let that go for another week, and then you put it into secondary for clarification, or keg it up. I'll probably just go ahead and keg it up since I know we're going to be needing it here in 4 weeks. So yeah, cool. Well, thanks for watching, YouTube. As always, if you've got any comments or anything, please do leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, thumbs up, share the video, like, tra-la-la, everything. Share with friends. Woohoo! It's great. We're having fun. Yeah, a lot more brewing videos to come. So we've done the Amarillo IPA, and we've done the Saison out of my first 3 I promised we would do based on YouTube suggestions. The next one will probably be a stout. That's what I'm feeling, because we've got I've got black IPA, I've got a standard IPA, or the Amarillo IPA. So doing a double IPA, I don't know if I want to have another IPA. I'm not a big hophead, and so I think I'll go mellow. Maybe we'll do a stout. Maybe play around with a late dark malt edition. I've read that that is beneficial. Doesn't give you the astringency, but you get all the roasty flavor. So super smooth. That could be fun to try. Yeah, on the new system, why not? And then after that, it's going to be kind of a la carte. We'll see how much beer we've got in the stocks, and keep brewing. I mean, with that setup, you saw it takes me 3.5 hours to do a batch. Basically, it's crazy how fast this is, and I'm taking my time, you know, with filming and move the cameras and adjust here and there. I could probably knock one out pretty damn fast. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe that'll be a speed challenge. So, cheers, YouTube. Thanks for watching as always. And yeah, please do shoot us notes. Let me know down below, comments, and yeah, any ideas. I've learned a lot from you guys, so please do continue giving me advice on this. If you got one, or you know someone, or you brewed on one, let me know, because yeah, every little bit is going a long way. Getting that controller, the PID, dialed in with that calibration function was awesome. Took all my questions out of it, any math I had to do. So little stuff like that, incredible, incredible. So again, cheers. Thanks for watching. I'm rambling. We will see you around YouTube. 17.